In this video, I'm going to show you how I painted this little landscape using mostly a palette knife and some oil paints. Hey there, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're keeping well. I'm really happy to have you with me today. And today I'm going to be painting a landscape inspired from countryside in the UK, in the southwest to be specific. And it's a photo that I took a couple of years ago. I'll just pop it up now. It's a reference photo. And I'm going to be painting this in oil paints, water mixable oil paints specifically. So basically, I'm going to be working on oil painting paper from Canson. It's about 7 inches by 7 inches. And what I'm doing here, well, I'll tell you my colours first. I've got titanium whites, cadmium yellow, cadmium reds, burnt sienna, cerulean blue, and burnt umber. And what I'm doing is just mixing up a batch of colours similar to the sort of composition. And as usual, these colours will get modified throughout the painting session. I usually like to mix up some colours, usually similar to the actual composition itself. So the sky colours will be on top, backgrounds will be in the middle of the palette, and foregrounds will be at the bottom of the palette. So I've mixed up simple blue for the sky, and these colours here on the right, ultramarine blue, cadmium red, were just to make a sort of dull sort of purple colour that I'm going to use for the clouds. So I'm going to put the reference photo on my Patreon page. You can get access to that. The link is in the description. So go ahead and check that out. Again, I start with palette knife. I'm going to be mostly painting this using a palette knife. We'll start out with a brush first, usually with thin paints. And yeah, I'll be literally turning this into an abstract / impressionism landscape. And it was a lot of fun. It took me about 35 minutes to paint. Again, I love these small paintings because it gives me an idea of what's sort of going, what I can do, what I can't do. It's like an experimentation piece before I actually start working on something that's going to perhaps be more detailed or on a larger canvas. And this really gives me a chance to sort of really play with colours. And the colour palette is very simple. I like that cerulean blue at the moment. It just gives it a bit more. It's a bit more punchy blue, as opposed to ultramarine blue. But I like to sort of mix them together as well sometimes to get a bit of interest in the blue. So here I'm just knocking out some of that green which I made with ultramarine blue and cadmium yellow. This is my darkest green mix, and I just knocked it back a little bit with burnt sienna, the opposite. I say the opposite color. The opposite color of green. Kind of like a browny color. Well, it's actually red, but you can add brown or burnt sienna, which I've got to that, just to knock it back a bit. Now I'm just going for ultramarine blue and cadmium yellow to get a mid sort of basic green color. And again, going back to water mixable oils, love them. I'm really enjoying them at the moment. I use a little bit of water just to knock out a thin layer, which I can work over on top, but not too much. So far so good. This is, I think, the third week now of using water mixable oils, and the paintings that I have created are still fine. They didn't lose any colours due to the water that I used. Here is a little bit of a mix of most of the colours I have on the palette, because In this sort of reference picture, it has some like beigey sort of colours where parts of the grass is dried out. So yeah, I'm going to be mixing that in shortly. So let's start with a medium-sized flat brush, and I just start knocking in some areas of blue, basically. It's that simple. A little bit of water, as I said, and yeah, I'm just going to identify some blue areas and keeping those brush strokes visible. So with a bit of variation there, I just added some purple into that because this sky it will start off quite sort of blended, and I'm going to be adding some palette knife thick, juicy paint on top to sort of identify some lights within the clouds. So here, especially here in the horizon, will be very sort of misty and blended. I just used a simple colored pencil to sketch out the design. Took about 10 seconds, if that. And yeah, I had a really great time painting this. I'm really happy with the outcome as well. And yeah, it's amazing what you can achieve in just over half an hour with such a limited palette on a piece of oil painting paper. And yeah, I was really happy with how this turned out. I hope you enjoy it. Hope I can teach you something today. I think the lesson today, every day, every lesson that I upload, every time I upload a video, is to basically keep things simple and experiment. Don't be afraid to experiment and enjoy the process of building up a painting. Yeah, it's amazing. It's a lot of fun, this technique. I think I'm going to go for a punchier colour now. Oh no, it's the same mix, just with adding a bit of lighter value just to knock that back, because that is right in the distance now, above the horizon line. So a bit of a thicker paint here. So not much water now, if any. Just to sort of highlight or indicate some highlights of the clouds. And as I said, this will gradually get thicker. It's always nice to work thin to thick when you're working this sort of alla prima technique. There are times where I might just sort of plaster the paint on in quite an impasto style and call it done in certain areas of the painting. But I mean, this is sky, it's far away, so I want to sort of build up and give the paint a bit more depth. I'm not overblending just yet. I'm just being sort of quite strategic in where I want certain brushes to be put. And what's great about these water mixed sport oils is that, I'm using water, obviously, and my brushes are kept clean throughout. I mean, I don't use any mineral spirits or terps or anything like that. Anything toxic stays out of the studio. And it's just water, basically, so I can just keep rinsing in between, drying them really well, because I don't want to use too much water as a medium. Just a little bit, just to let the paint flow in this under this sort of first layer of the actual painting. So here I'm just tying some areas together with the same brush. I wipe the brush before I'm doing this so it kind of stays clean. And just with a bit of pressure, I'm not blending totally all of it out, just some at certain areas. And I'm just putting some more punchy blue in some other areas there. I'm just using my super old blending brush. This is about 5 years old. It's tiny. I think I need to buy a new one just to sort of blend and tie in some areas together again. Okay, just again, bit of palette knife action now, straight in. I couldn't wait. I love the palette knife, as you probably know. Just sort of identifying some, not some bright areas, but some, I'd say sort of mid-tone. And yeah, again, it's about pressure and angle, and I guess the load that you add to the actual palette knife when it comes to palette knife. Yeah, you'd be surprised of how much paint I use throughout this painting, especially white. Okay, I went a bit darker there by mistake. Or was it a mistake? I'm not sure. I don't remember. I painted this yesterday, and I'm doing a random freestyle voiceover. So if you see me or hear me, see me. If you hear me trip over my words, I do apologise. I would like to paint in real time. Perhaps I will one day. But I think it's a bit easier at the moment doing a voiceover. Yeah, so palette knife is amazing pressure wise. The harder you push down, the more paint obviously will go onto the surface. But then you can also blend and scrape in the paint and also remove the paint, which is a joy. It's a bit unpredictable, I must admit. It does take a little bit of practice and play, but I wouldn't have it any other way. The palette knife is without doubt the most important tool in my painting practice. I couldn't be without it. And there were times where I would use a full, make a full painting by using a palette knife. But I like to sort of, do a bit of both, bit of brush work and palette knife in the same painting. And here I'm just still getting a feel for what's going on. Just adjusted it now slightly. I want a bit more opaque sort of paint like I just did there. And again, just getting a feel for it. I have the reference photo to my left on the computer, and that's just for reference only. It's not me capturing every single detail and having to be correct. The reference is just a reference. It's just an idea of composition and color, or say color, a little bit of color, mainly values. But I never rely solely on copying the reference photo to be exact. No way. That's not me. As you'll see if you saw at the beginning of the video, I'm going for impressionistic, abstract, with hints of realism here and there, but not too much. I mean, it's a 35-minute painting. It's an oil sketch study. So we're playing now here. This is a very bright area, and it was like really dry sort of grass. It was yellow, basically. But again, I think I'm going to amend this. I went straight in with really thick paint there. I was a bit overconfident in that part, but you'll see me fix it up a bit later. I wanted to make it a bit lighter in value. So here I'm going straight to thick paints. Yeah, with a deep breath and mixing some of that green in, because yeah, that grass was very dry in that sort of area, and it's nice to mix some of my greens into that dry area of grass. Here I've got distance, some trees, which was quite dark. So I'm just knocking that straight in now, being really confident with my palette knife. And these lines are quite sharp at the moment, these marks are quite sharp. And here, yeah, this is the palette knife now. Sorry, the paintbrush, the blending brush. I think I dipped in a little bit of water, but not too much, just to smooth it out into the distance slightly. And I just jumped straight into that with that mix with that blending brush. And I'm back with my flat brush now. just to push it back, and you'll see me do that again later on. Blending brush, blending with water and oils. It's pretty amazing, but only a little bit in certain areas. Okay, so it was like the distant hills. It looked like mountains in the photo, but I don't think we have many mountains in the UK. It's a very hilly country, lots of grass, but I treated this like a mountain. So a very cool colour, and that just gets pushed right back into the distance. And I went a little bit brighter here with that cerulean blue and ultra titanium white, just for some, just to give it a little bit more distance. Okay, so again, a slightly larger brush, just getting that weird dirty mix of with my large brush, just to lay in a thin layer for now. Again, not much water, just a little bit, but I'm more sort of scrubbing in the paint now, and it just make it easier for me to work over shortly. And just indicating some highlights there. I've used the same brush here, I haven't cleaned it. I think I did wipe it a little bit, but just to indicate some more sort of punchy green area here into the foreground. So last week I recently made an exclusive exclusive art studio vlog. It's a 7-minute video, and if you want to see that, then make sure you subscribe to my mailing list. I'll leave the link in the description of this video, and yeah, I'm going to be sending out an email once every couple of weeks, just to let you know what I'm up to. There'll be no spam, I promise. Just sort of random emails here and there, just to, yeah, sort of keep in touch with my subscribers. So go ahead and click the link and join up, and yeah, that exclusive art vlog will just give you an idea and show you my my art studio and the materials that I use to make my paintings. Okay, so I'm adding that brown of all the reds. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's green's very tricky because it could look a bit artificial. So it's nice to add some of its complements opposite, which is red, or even brown would be fine if you wanted that sort of value or shade. So I'm just sort of mark making, I guess. When I've jumped to my Filbert brush, I've had that brush for 20 years plus, and I've only started using it in the last 5 years or so. Just sort of blending some sort of certain areas here and there, not too much. Wiping the brush in between as well. Just again tying some areas together. Yeah, so I am thinking here for, okay, I ran out of white, so brought some white back onto that palette. My palette's full at the moment. I mean, it's nice to be able to shoot this in one shot, having the surface and palette next to each other, but I ran out of space, so I think I managed to do this in one sitting without cleaning too much. I think I cleaned the small part in the top right hand side there, but yeah, I have to. It's very difficult working on a small palette. Yeah, so you might see me sort of hesitate and think, "Oh, what am I doing?" But that's just me thinking, with the palette space that I have. So really thick paint here. I'm just sort of wanting to highlight over the top of that thin paint, and I'm plastering that down right there just for nice chunky juicy highlights. They're just lightly scraping down towards the foreground. I love that texture already. Look at that texture that sits, and you can see the green underneath. It's amazing. It's beautiful. That abstraction for me is so, it's just so beautiful to look at. I love texture in a painting, and that depth as well, because we've started with thin paint and then we're working on over with thick paint, and I like scraping in, like now, scraping away paint and adding paints. And yeah, with paintbrushes as well, it has its uses. You'll see it later. You'll see me later adding some paintbrush work over the top. I love that already. It's like an abstract painting that's done correctly. Not that is not that I'm an abstract. Not that I'm very good at abstract paintings. I love abstract paintings if they're done correctly. Now I'm just sort of scraping through the the wet paint now from the edge of the palette knife, just for some interesting mark making. So what am I doing here? I do that a lot. So I'll mix up all these paints, and then I'll simply use the same paint, but just add a lot of titanium white over the top, just for the values, same paint mix, just white on top as we gradually get through the painting. Yeah, just for some of the yellow flowers parts, just sort of indicating some some yellow flowers in the grass. I think they're dandelions. I'm not sure. I'd have to ask my mother about that. Well, she'd know that. I'm terrible when it comes to flowers and names. And use a lot of white paint, so just top that up now. And yeah, there's my filbert brush. Oh, we'll just wipe that away because I can and it's fun. Yeah, a bit of dry brush in there, technique. Bristle brush, sorry, a filbert bristle brush, so it's really sort of sturdy and holds the paint really well for these thick sort of techniques. Applying those thick paints over the top of the wet paint doesn't work as well as a palette knife, but it just has a different sort of, you get a different sort of outcome with this brush. It does have its uses. Yeah, I made this painting really fast. I mean, yeah, 35 minutes or so. So I'm quite impulsive. I would say impulsive. I'm very, these paintings especially, I just want to sort of lay it down and try not to spend too much time. Otherwise, I'll get caught up in detail, and I don't want to get out this tiny little paintbrush and start painting every single blade of grass. I can't get on with that. I need to just get it down and move on. Um, but obviously caring about my brush marks and many things. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I mean, getting a whole painting finish. I know it's 7 inches by 7 inches, but I've got a whole painting finish, and it just looks really sweet on a nice piece of paper. And when you take off that tape and you have a small, half a centimeter border, it just looks really sweet sitting on a small, tiny table easel. Um, yeah, I've got my blending brush here. Just having a little blend in some certain areas. Just tying some areas together again. I love that expression, tying some areas in again. You'll hear me say that quite a lot. Tying some areas here and there again, right there. And I think I put this brush now in a bit of water, and then I dried it, and so it's slightly damp, and just sort of pushing those flowery things in the distance, sort of blending them into the grass there. And just scraping away some areas. Now you can get for water mixed oil paints, you can buy a thinner, like a mineral spirits, but it's toxic, which I've read. I mean, I've been researching it, and okay, as I said earlier, I want to keep all toxics out of the studio. But they say it carries the paint a little bit further rather than water. But then water is absolutely fine to use with water mixed oil paints, as Winsor and Newton has stated, because I use their brands, which is Artisan. But yeah, you can use up to, I think it was like 30% water or more, but I don't even use that. I mean, it's really minimal. A little bit of water goes a long way for what I need. There in the left-hand side, I just added some, what's the word, like sort of lands, like stones and gravel, because in the reference photo that showed a bit of gravel and some dry mud, which or is sort of grey colour. Okay, I'm jumping back into the sky now with a lot of thick paints. And I added some yellow in there. I'm not sure why, but kind of like it. Oh no, I didn't. Here's what I'm fixing now. So I wanted to fix this, and I wanted this to be like a creamy colour. That sort of section there where I just put the paint, and I couldn't get it right, and it took me a few attempts, and you'll see me sort of scrape it back slightly and play with that area, and I think I fixed it to some degree. I was fairly happy with how I fixed it, but let's see. Excuse the hand there, but I think I'm removing the paint. Yeah, I want a bit more punchy colour here. Yeah, and what am I doing here? Yeah, here's what I'm wiping away there, because I've run out of space, so I'm just wiping away an area of palettes, and just to add some that sort of punchy colour, and hopefully I can fix my mistake. Again, I'm going to mention it. Oil painting is really forgiving. You can really move and wipe things away and manipulate it more than, say, acrylics. Acrylics, okay, they dry very quickly and you can just work over the top of them. But with oil paints, you can really, they're easier for me, I think. And they're more forgiving. You can really move and play around with the paints. And just scraping some highlighted areas here with the edge of the palette knife. Not too much paint. Just getting a mad mix of blending, texture, transitions. Yeah, and blending with my finger slightly. So if you don't know, I have a Patreon page now where I have a few different tiers of membership, and I mean I offer a few extras on there as opposed to my YouTube channel. So go ahead and check that out. I will still be adding tutorials on my YouTube channel because I just absolutely love it, and I love that. I love the comments that I receive on my YouTube channel from people. And yeah, if you look at some of my comments, I know you can't because there's a lot of videos, but yeah, I've received amazing positive comments about palette knife techniques in particular with oil paints. So yeah, I mean, if you want to leave me a comment down below on this video, please do, and please give it a like. It does really help the algorithm of YouTube. And also, if there's something that you want me to paint, landscape, seascape, any sort of requests, then let me know. I mean, I'd love to help. I'm really happy with what I'm doing on YouTube at the moment. Yeah, so let me know in the comments below. And great. Sorry, here I think I'm not dry brushing. Yeah, I'm dry brushing and blending slightly, and I've put a bit of yellow into that, or I will put a bit of yellow into that sky slightly, a little bit, just to perhaps complement that purple I've got going on in the sky. Yeah, and again, a bit more dry brushing here with my bristle brush. And again, with that sort of technique, I'm trying not to make the same pattern over and over again, trying to add a bit more variety in the brush making there. And here I wanted a bit more lighter. I think that's where I added the yellow there. Oh yeah, and there with the blue. So hopefully I'm not going to get a green colour. There's a lot of white, titanium white in that mix. I just wanted to brighten that area up there and just cut through the clouds and make some interesting marks, I guess. Yeah, just a few soft, delicate touches here. I'm sorry if I'm rambling on too much in this tutorial, but I got really excited with this painting, and yeah, I was really happy with how this painting came out with regards to the technique that I'm going for, that I say that I have, that I like working with. And it sort of ticked all the boxes that I like when it comes to oil painting. So yeah. And just here indicating some of that gravel, that natural sort of, or the stones, the grey stones in certain areas of the grass blades. And again, I just added a bit of darkness, some shadows there in the grass areas there. And then decided to sort of take it back slightly. But I really like this this direction of the grass. It's just coming sort of straight down. Like, it appealed to me a lot because the grass is quite long in the reference photo, and I just like that sort of direction, to be honest. And a little bit of burnt sienna in there for the complement, to complement the grass slightly. and I've run out of palette space, so I'm just gonna, I think I'm looking for a more punchy green now, because it's nice to have, yeah, the more punchy green, more sort of like more saturation in the foreground, and that should be where your darks and lights should be in the foreground. And as you get sort of, it depends on the landscape, obviously, but as you get more into the distance, into the background, then things become more sort of desaturated and perhaps cooler. So here I wanted a bit more punch in the green, a bit more sort of punchy colour, so a lot of thick paint there, just to sort of sit mostly on top of what I had already done and blended in other areas as well. And again, just got the blending brush there, just for some final touch-ups. Just again tying some areas together into some areas where I think needed, and yeah, I'm just gonna add. I'm not sure what I'm gonna add here. I think a final. Oh yeah, with the random thick highlights of those flowers in the grass. Not too far, not too much there, but just a few last last bits of detail there. And I think we'll call this one finished. It's amazing what you can do in 35 minutes. I'm really happy with the painting. I'm looking forward to making the next one, hopefully next week. I really appreciate you being here with me today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, then please do so and hit the little notification bell, and you'll be notified when I upload my next video. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much again for watching. Bye for now.